to admit that we're here with all of you. We're glad that you... Good morning, and thank you for joining. We are live streaming right from our very own Facebook page, and we're so happy to have you. We are so happy to have you here. We are talking about conversations that have indeed carried us to where we are now. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you being here. And thank you all for joining us. We're having technical difficulty at this moment. We're having a lot of technical difficulty. So we are live, and you are being able to listen to us live. Thank you for joining our podcast. Thank you so much, and we're here with all of you. We're glad that you were able to log on anywhere out there, anywhere. So thank you, and thank you for giving us a chance to be part of Vibe Talk's experience. Thank you. And we're going to be live in just a few minutes. As we're here, we want to say to all of our listeners, thank you, as we celebrate Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. Now, I don't know about you, but there has been many of you that have been on. You continue to support us. We appreciate you. And we know that you are getting the most from Vibe Talk. Or are you? We're going to find out, because we're going to look back at some of the conversations that you've been able to make good use of, or have you? This is a place where we do answer or help you to answer questions. And you know how I feel about questions. Why? Because it's going to give you an opportunity to be able to... We're pausing quite frequently because I'm in a different location. And so pardon us as we are. It's also being recorded. So don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. We will be on, and we're going to take a small break because we're going to get into some conversations that we've had in the past. So we want you to stay tuned to us. We'll be right back. Cause we're Facing the Lion podcast. Go check your favorite streaming platforms. Feel free to be interactive. Tell us your story. Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, YouTube, and it's so much more. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Go give it a shot. We're back. We're going to be talking about conversations. Over the last 3 years, what really have we been talking about? I know that there are many podcasts that people tune into, but I want to share something with you that I think is going to be real beneficial to you. We've had so many conversations. As I told you, I love inspirational quotes. Successfully, we have been able to turn those into real conversation with adding how we feel, with dealing with and connecting with our own experiences and our own emotions, how we truly felt about something, how we truly felt about it. And we're going to take you back. So please stay with us as we look back at what we've done. And it's so important that you and I take a look at this. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a broad look at where we've been versus where we are now. And so I'm going to take you back, and I'm going to take you back to our YouTube. Now, as we told you, we have a YouTube channel by the same name, Vibe Talk Facing the Lion Podcast. When was the last time that you really had a deep conversation? When was the last time that you all engaged in deep, meaningful conversations? Because if you haven't, you want to really try to get yourself to where you're engaging in meaningful conversations with purpose. And I don't know about you all, but that's my type of thing, being in conversations that are meaningful, being in a two-way conversation. Vibe Talk has indeed helped many of you as you've sent in messages to us, letters to us, calls into us, and thanked us for what we have done. And we appreciate all of you, and we've heard you. You've heard us. I'm very thankful. Can I just say that? I am very thankful for what has transpired with Vibe Talk for the last 3 years. We are in year 3. We're in year 3. Has everything been perfect? I don't know. With you guys, what do you think? Do you think that everything's been perfect? I think that everything has been less than perfect. I'm going to have to really say that things have been less than perfect. But we're going to go back, and we're going to listen to how Vibe Talk has really helped us. Or has it? Remember, I'm the gal that asks questions. We'll be right back.
Interactive and tell us your story. Like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, YouTube, and it's so much more. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Go give it a shot.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for joining Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. Now, we're going to get into conversation. Feel free to join in the conversation. I want to go back to a little bit of history, so bear with me because, as it happens here, everything is live and uncut, and I do mean for reals. So we're going to have a look back because the new ones of you coming in, you may not understand where Vibe Talk originated from. So we're going to have a look back at Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. And if you haven't heard some of these conversations, then we want you to be able to look and see what we have done. Oh boy, do we have a serious long list. We have a serious long list. And so, some of our conversations have been heal your wounds, self-validation, setting boundaries, when you make mistakes. We've talked about learning, unlearning, relearning, refueling. We've celebrated some positive people during their time that they have needed us the most to let us know, without even knowing who we are, that we've appreciated them. We've celebrated music. We even had a graduation here in 2022. We are 2023. And if you all haven't saw that, that is on our podcast. Breaking Cycles. How many of you remember that? Breaking Cycles. I want to lose the word so much. You find yourself saying that, you gotta really think about what you're saying. How about this one? Where does it hurt? Good morning and welcome. Good morning. Where are you listening in from, please? And thank you for joining Vibe Talk. We are celebrating 3 years. And in case you can't find us or have never heard of us, we are on Facebook and Instagram. Ohio. Has winter set in yet? Because it sure has here in California. Mornings are so cold. So cold. And we give you a warm welcome here from Ohio. So we're going back and we're talking about topics. All right. It's still autumn there in Ohio. And it's getting colder. Thank you for that. And thank you for joining us. In case you haven't heard, we do have a YouTube channel. And we'd love to have your support. Find our YouTube channel. Because you're going to find out that thank you so much for that. Our podcast is energetic. We've had Thursday Table Talk, where we invited regular members to be on our panel to just talk about their feelings. I remember having we do. We have, in fact, my co-host connects the YouTube channel to Spoons. So it's on there, and thank you for that. I love that. Thank you for suggesting that. So where have we been? Finally Friday. My co-host reminded me that finally Friday wasn't finally Friday at first. It was Facing Friday or something like that. We found a place for it. Yeah, we found a place for it. And so finally Friday became about conversations that we had in the week, and we recapped. And then once we recapped, after recapping, I thought about it, and it was okay. How do you feel when Friday's end comes? You think about everything that's happened in the week, and then you say, wow, I got through it. Oh, wow, I was exhausted from it. So, we talked about having to heal yourselves. How do you do it? See, because people called in, and when they called in, they got to know us through their own discovery. We didn't have all the answers, because being a wellness coach does not give you the rights to be a medical professional. So we don't step in that territory. We know where our lane is, and we stay in our lanes. What else have we talked about? Do you guys remember the ones on phobias? That's now up. And if you hashtag vibetalkfacingthelionpodcast, you will be connected to all of our podcasts. This one on, wow, thank you. Top 10 again. Power to pain. You are thankful for being done with school. And Friday, you take it easy, because your busy weekend begins. Aye, Captain. I understand that. Know how that feels. And we talked about phobias. What are you afraid of? Remember, we talked about rebuilding ourselves, learning all about you. We learned to reclaim yourself. Introspective. We have done some inner active work, role-playing. That was a lot of interesting ways. That was very interesting. So here we are on our podcast celebrating year 3. While we don't brag, I want to just tell you that there has been work, and more work. We have now been streaming. We're streaming now. Who would have thought of such a thing? Where we did a podcast every day, live. Some of it was early mornings. And now when we stream, you guys are forever getting new and updated Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. We've included our own commercials thanks to my co-host. She's so creative. We're so grateful for all of it. It's just been amazing what we have been able to do. And I'm so grateful for everything. I cannot tell you how grateful I am. We are celebrating 3 years of constant work. We've even learned to work on ourselves. How are you guys doing? You know, if you think that you are afraid to come in, try listening to our streams. Tell us what you think. And if you still don't feel like it's a safe place, just keep listening. We will forever have something to talk about, talk for, and talk with. We've had topic of conversations, what defines you? And I mean, it's just been so much. Changes take time. If you think that you'd like to hear some of the things that I'm saying to you, please go find us on YouTube. We appreciate your suggestions as you come in. Usually our Facebook page is connected to whatever platforms we're on. A lot of times we want to see if you guys are going to do the work and find us. And we're proud to say that there has been 294 of you who have found us. And I gotta tell you, some of the places that you guys live, I've never heard. I've never heard. I didn't even know there was such a place. You guys are hearing us over in Greece, even if it's a small percentage. France, Germany. You know, it's amazing the power of the internet if you are using it correctly. So, what have you done in 3 years that is deserving of celebration? Every day is a day to celebrate. We don't just take one day out of our lives and celebrate the milestones. Every day is a reason to celebrate. And when I first started Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast, I realized something. That was going to be the day that helped change someone. It has caused me to do work on myself. It has caused me to discover my strengths. It has caused me to challenge. And when you're in a bad situation, I've challenged myself to say it could be worse. How many of us have done our own work in that manner? And so we know that every day is not a good day. While still there are other days where we're not feeling so challenged. But we rise against and above. We rise up to greet each day. And so we get beautiful letters, beautiful phone calls. We get some people who we're going to irritate because they haven't yet worked on themselves. And that's okay if you have not yet worked on yourself. We know that you're going to get there. And how do we know it? Because through our own experience, we have learned from you. We've learned keepsakes. How many of you remember that one? Accepting challenges. Happiness without fear. Happy without fear. And you celebrated Black History Month. You know, celebration is important. Are you yourself worthy of the celebrations that you've had? I'll tell you, the celebrations that we've had, we've celebrated other people. You know, when other people come out of recovery from addiction, from drug addiction, from abuse, and they've recovered, and they say, I'm aware, we celebrate that. And we're going to ask you to do the same, celebrating of yourself at all costs. We're going to be right back. I promise you, stay tuned.
Feel free to be interactive and tell us your story.
about meaning of color. Meaning of colors. In fact, I was in a conversation with my sister earlier today, and she's in the midst of painting. Her and my brother-in-law, and they're painting, and I said, colors mean something. Colors mean something. And when we think about why we choose the colors we do, that is sending a signal to our brain. And we started out, I don't know if some of you were with us at the time, we started out with color wheel, because when kids are little, they love color. When they're babies, they're attracted to certain colors. Some colors can be really hard and abrasive. But what is your favorite color? We talked about colors of love. That's why we change colors, because our brain is sensitive to the world that we live in. We intake things, even color. Change. We're forever changing. Who of us does not change? Change is inevitable. And when we change, are we changing for the best? Better, greatest. And when I say greatest, greater than no one else, are you changing for the great possibilities inside of yourself? Discovery. When you get into Vibe Talk, you learn to discover things about yourself that you didn't even know you had. How many of you have listened to the superhero one that we did? We did a session about that one. And I love that one because each of us have something special about a superhero, extraordinary thing that sometimes we're not even awakened to. I know for me, years went by before I actually discovered it. That's why we like you to join the conversation. When you join the conversation, you start talking. The more that you start talking about your experience, your emotions, your feelings, you begin to relate. And you have other people that can say, I relate to you. How many of you have had that happen? We talked about emotions awareness. We had a part 1, a part 2. And that's very interesting. All of these podcasts, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm telling you about, all of these podcasts are now on our YouTube channel. They're there. Choosing change, knowing the struggle. Vibe Talk Facing the Lion, we started to explain to you what Vibe Talk Facing the Lion was about. Our Wednesday wellness is all about healing, your well-being. Who of us needs healing? There's not one person that has not come in here that does not need healing of some sort. But first we have to be willing to admit that we are hurting and there are parts of us that hurt. Transformation Tuesday is all about change. You may see lots of butterflies. Even butterflies have taken on a new meaning for me, because when you think about butterflies, just the other day I was looking out of my window and I saw a yellow butterfly. And when you think about the delicate frame of a butterfly, sometimes they might have a tear in their wing and they're still able to fly. That's amazing to me. So if you're seeing butterflies, that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. We showed you a map in the year 2010 22. And I want to talk about this map for a moment because it's so awesome what we have reached. And I'm going to bring it up because I need to see exactly what I'm talking about with this electronic. Here we are. It was a rule that we did. Let me show you some of the things that we've done. New Jersey, Germany, Missouri, Wyoming. Here's somewhere I've never, ever heard of. United Arab Emirates. I've never heard of that. Have you? Louisiana, Washington, United States, Colorado, South Dakota, Idaho, Oklahoma, Australia, Kentucky, Iowa, Maine, Arkansas, Nevada, Connecticut, Utah, Wisconsin, Japan, Georgia, North Carolina, Vermont, Michigan, North Dakota, Indiana, Illinois, South Carolina, Tokyo, Minnesota, Delaware, Florida, Maryland, Tennessee, Mississippi, San Francisco, New Mexico, the Netherlands, Oregon, Alabama, Germany. We have touched in 2022. Since then, every state, islands, we love to travel right from our virtual world. We've done a lot, and we're so grateful to you for sharing our conversations. We're so grateful to you for sharing what Vibe Talk has meant to you. I don't know how many of you have listened to our podcast, but I know by sight how many of you are liking that. Thank you. So, where have we been and where are we going? We don't know, because sometimes change is uncertain. How many of you have had uncertain change in your life and it looked pretty scary, or it looks ugly, or it's emotional? Some people say, well, my change has been ugly. It hasn't been what I expected. I'm going to tell you something. Life presents that in that order. And life tells us our own stories. What do we gain from it? I've loved talking to you guys. I've learned sharing my feelings and my thoughts. And some of you have been brave of you, many of you, to be that lion. You've done this every day. That's what you've done. And some of you have roared silently. Where does change take you? Does it make you a better person? Where have all these conversations taken you? Has it given you something to think about? You know, we get information from people who write, people who send us mail, and they say thank you. Thank you. And just by your support of us saying thank you, that's enough. We thank all of you. We know that for the year 2024, there's going to be changes. There's going to be struggle. There's going to be challenges. But we accept all of that. We hope that when we get to 2024, you have made up your mind to step on into Vibe Talk. And we are by no means doctors. We are by no means medical profession. But as we say on Wednesday Wellness, get well, stay well, be well. That's all it takes. Discovering other things. You know, when we discover things, we're excited about it. We're with the oohs and and the wows. And that's what Vibe Talk has created. Sometimes I can look at things and I can not understand it, and then I can be in a total conversation with all of you, and it's like it just clicks. How many of you have had that where things have just clicked in your own housed body? You begin to think, you begin to act, and you begin to say, okay, this is what it is. You know, facing the lion. Facing the lion. And actually, we need to add that to our celebration of 3 years, because facing the lion has really helped so many people. I've watched you all cry. I've cried. I've watched you laugh hysterically. And I've watched you be honest. I've watched some of you hide your own truth. But I'll tell you what, facing the lion has no better home than Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We've had doctors, we've had lawyers. We've had lawyers that have experienced anxiety just because they wanted to pass their bar exam. And we're so grateful for the training. You see, it doesn't take anything to be a life coach, but it takes everything if you want to be successful. All of you do your own work here. And that is the first thing that I tell my clients. You must do your own work. So if you are living in a town, community, country, wherever you live, if you're in the North Pole, would you do us a favor and you hear this today? Would you tag your place? Because there are still people who need to hear this. Still people. You remember how we talked about when the COVID came, and there are people that you never would think would ever give a listen. We had an older lady, and she was so proud to be part of our conversation. But yet she was feeling and experiencing loneliness. We all know what that feels like. Let's put ourselves in the place of others so we feel as they do. You know, a lot of people are going to be celebrating their families. Let's think about ones who are less family. Family less. There's going to be people that are going to be gathering together that weren't here. That aren't here, I should say. They won't be here. Think about those people. Do you remember when we wanted to connect with ourselves and we challenged everybody to go give a blanket to someone in need? It could be anybody. And we gave to those who were less fortunate. Let's think about that. Let's celebrate them too. Because we say it's cold in the house, but imagine those people cold outside. We don't know what their reason is, and it's not ours to judge. But we did that experiment so you could know what it was like to give to someone like that. And I don't know if you will remember that, because some of you who are coming in are very new. And let's remember what that feels like. You know, a lot of times we're in conversation. And I do joke around a lot, and things really disturb me a lot. But, in all honesty, inside, I do care about those things. Just giving to people. My sister, I always try to help her to discover her because she gives so much, and she gives from not of things she already has. She gives because that's who she is. And a lot of people aren't aware of the gifts that they have. We don't always have that gift to give. But if you give of your time, if you give of your conversation, sometimes that's enough to help somebody. During that time, I asked you guys all to take out your phone. If there was somebody elderly, I said make contact with them. Even if it was the elderly person next door, maybe he's going to be lonely. He doesn't have any family or friends. Could you be that one to just say hello to him? I remember one year we moved in a neighborhood and my kids were very little, very young. And there was a knock on my door, and I had just been days in the neighborhood. And there was a young girl who was behind that door, and she held out to me a can that were of baked cookies. Now, I don't know about you, but I haven't seen that probably since I was little, and my mother used to do that with the neighbors. My mother's always making even the gardeners food, and we laugh at that stuff, but you know what? I can appreciate it. Anyways, the young girl said, my mother wanted me to bring these to you and welcome you to the neighborhood. Where have we been and where are we going? No one does that as much anymore. We've kind of given up on people. And I understand that because I'll tell you, sometimes you're hurt, sometimes people make you feel so despondent. But there are still good people out there. I will never forget that experience. What does it teach me? That I too can be like that. It's enough about me, me, me. Remember, we took our phones out, and I asked you the question, who could you call during COVID? Are you guys still doing that? Maybe we don't have grandmas and grandpas, but we can adopt one for the day, for the year. A lot of times older people, they don't want you to do anything but just have conversations. Where are we in our conversations? Where are we? Who are we in our conversations? So I want you all to do the work. Not just say, oh, Miss Nisi, tell me. I want you to go out and try some of these things. Even if it's just the pulling out of your phone and just sending. The people that I love, I just send hearts to. And my favorite heart to send is always the one with the ribbon. And I explained that one day. And I said, that means when you get that from me, if anybody has ever gotten that from me, that means you are a gift. Because I don't want any men to get that twisted. If somebody's sending that to you, it doesn't mean they're in love with you. You are a gift. We wrap presents to give to people, and we neatly tie them into bows. But just a simple emoji with a heart wrapped around it, you are a gift to me. And that's how I feel. And if you've gotten one from me, consider yourself pretty special. Because not everyone deserves to have that. But if you've got people in your life that have that, please, by all means, send those. Send those. Don't wait until they die to tell them how good they are. Celebrate them today. I also was in a conversation, sometimes families don't talk. Everybody has family like that. But if something were to happen to a family member and you didn't get to say your last goodbyes, now you would be riddled with guilt because you couldn't have said it better than if they were alive. I don't know about you, but the song My Father's Eyes, I love that song. And I'm going to give you a challenge, because I'm not going to call it homework anymore. Because homework seems to run people away. I don't know, when I hear homework, even when I was a teacher giving it, it was like homework. But I want to challenge you to all listen to that song and what he's saying in that song. We've had conversations about that. My Father's Eyes is a man coming up and not being able to really talk to his father for whatever reason. We have reasons for why we may not talk with our families or our friends, because we're mad, because something happened. You said something, I said something. But I want to tell you something. When it's too late, where does that leave us? So we celebrate people in our lives. The people that have helped us, because we're all about other people helping us. But do we realize that we too can help others? Don't let that be something that you're not aware of, that you can help someone too. We even had a podcast on smiles. How many of you remember that? When I said, I challenge you to smile at somebody. Sometime I wake up and I'm mean. I'm really mean when I wake up, so I get it. When you're not in your best mood. But I'll tell you what. How many times has someone smiled at you and you've responded in the most positive way? I'll give you this for an example, baby smile. Now, if a baby smiles at you, are you going to be mean and not smile back? Because if you're mean and you don't smile back at that baby, I don't know what to call that. You name that. But when a baby smiles, it melts your heart. They just smile at you. We see people, we've had these conversations where we've seen people who are driving and they look mean. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, what are you so mad about? And then when you begin to meet these people that you thought were mean, you know what we say when you never smile? Smiling is inviting. Smiling is powerful because it touches your emotion. It touches the deepest part of you because someone smiled at you. Remember that assignment when I said try this? We were all wearing masks. But by each other's eyes, we could tell if it was a smile or not. Nobody could see the face, but we all smiled. And that was a hard time for many of us. Let's not forget the struggles that you and I have faced. We've all had different struggles. We've all had struggles that we're still struggling from. I've been asking this question throughout this podcast. Where does it leave you? Some days seem darker than others. While, though, if you don't challenge yourself, how do you see its light? Because that light is inevitable. We've had callers who have told us their stories in life. They've told us, they've shown us, and they've shown and called back and have said how their lives have changed because of something that was said that stopped them dead in their tracks. How many of you have been that way? We have considered much to talk about. Our podcasts are now over 200 and then some. Go back, listen to them. Because we're streaming, we're not on every morning. But we've done the work. We're still doing work. There are still clients. But I want you to know that conversations can be valuable. We're going to be right back with a wrap-up just for you. We'll be right back.
'Cause we're called vibetalkfacingthelionpodcast. Go check your favorite streaming platforms. Feel free to be interactive and tell us your stories. Like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, YouTube, and so much more. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Go give it a shot.
We are back. We hope that during this podcast that we've helped you to go back down memory lane to find out what we're all about. If it's your first time, we welcome you. We celebrate you. If you've heard it time and time again because we know, we see you, you come in, you've told others, you brought family members, friends, we thank you for that. We ask that you keep doing that. What will we see in 2024? We have no idea, but I can tell you this. It will be much better than it was the year before, and you'll see growth. Growth is important to any type of change, any type of wellness. Growth is important. Because some people think, oh, well, I need to be perfect. You don't need to be perfect, because none of us are perfect. What you can expect in your life is to start discovering something that you love about yourself. And if you're not there yet, just keep listening. You will be inspired by the stories that you hear. By the way, on YouTube, we have call-ins for you. And I want to thank my co-host for putting those up on our YouTube page. If you're not familiar with our YouTube page, check it. Subscribe to it. All it takes is a click. We appreciate any acknowledgement. We read negative comments too. We won't leave that out. We had someone that actually didn't like that we were promoting our podcast. Everyone promotes their YouTube channel. But here's the key. I know how to do it. We don't beg you, because it has to be up to you what you like. Thousands of podcasts are out there. We're not one over the other. We do our work. And if you want to get well, this is the place to be. Our feelings book, we were discussing that the other day. If you've got any recommended books that we can go over as a group, we'd love to get your feedback. I want to say thank you to our audience member from Ohio. Thank you so much. And thank you for the feedback. Usually when my co-host is here, she makes sure that every link is connected to our podcast, and we will put the link of our YouTube channel in the podcast. All of our podcasts are recorded for your listening and for legal purposes. And I think it's a good thing really to do if you're going to take the time to do it, because without these, we couldn't tell you what the work was. We have living proof of what our work is. So we want to say thank you to all the platforms that have supported this without cutting us off or interrupting us. We appreciate it. 3 years strong. So we're glad to have had all of you. We are going to wrap this up by asking the question, finally, what did you learn and discover in today's podcast? And I can safely say, as the host, that I've learned hard work always pays off. And I like that feeling of hard work without giving up. I challenge every one of you to work at it and be hard working with it. This has been Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. Thank you for joining me, and we will see you soon. Stay motivated. Till the next time.
Really about the news, and then I got the vibe with it. I really took my time with it. I really loved the ride with it. Really got the vibe with it. I took my time with it.